Hello, this is Geert Baar again with the third episode about the discography of Mr. Neil Diamond's records. The first episode we had about these two records, his first two records made by Bang Company, and then the second episode I showed you a pile of records that he made, of what they made of his 24 songs he made with Bang, and they mashed it all up in several compilations. And they distributed it all over the world in various album covers, but you can look back on the second episode. So when he fell out with Bang, it was about that song called Shallow, about his imaginary friend. It was not a Cherry Cherry song or a love song. It was something different, and Bang didn't like that, but Neil wanted to move on, and he did so with another company, and Neil wanted to prove that he was more than a love song writer and that he was more than a one-hit wonder. So he made this album called Velvet, Gloves and Spit. It was one of the first albums I found from that period after Bang, and it has a nice back cover, but I also found it with another back, and it contains beautiful songs like Brooklyn Roots, which goes about his childhood in Brooklyn. There is the song Modern Day Version of Love, which appears on much of his love songs albums. You can find it also on a CD with a back cover that isn't as nice as this one. But there are also other covers of this one, and this is another cover of Velvet, Gloves and Spit. And here's the back, which is quite special, I think. Neil also had a song that was quite controversial on it, which was called the Pot Smoker's Song. He was interviewing people who were saying that pot, marijuana, was very harmful and could lead to much more drugs. And lots of his peers in music were laughing at him because of that song. Later on, which was written in the biographs, he was busted himself with drugs at his home. If it's true, I don't know. I just read it. Just giving it to you. There's also another one here, as you can see, Velvet, Gloves and Spit, with the same back, but now as a inner sleeve. Yes. Then there is even a fourth cover difference here. We have Neil in a chair, and it is indicated that there is also a poster included, and there is. It's quite a big poster. It's not in my bedroom, so here it is, quite a big poster of Neil Diamond sitting in his chair, a rocking chair. So, and then we move to one of his big hits, perhaps the biggest of all, the single Sweet Caroline, and that was included in this album, which is mostly written about as Brother Love Traveling Salvation Show, but it has a different cover here, because the original cover, here's the back, the original cover was this one, but Sweet Caroline wasn't included. Of course, Brother Love is included, and it stayed his encore during all his live performances since then, I guess. He's always playing a beautiful song. Juliet is on it, it's one of my favorites. And also, And the Grass Won't Pay No Mind, which is also covered by nobody else but Elvis Presley and many others. But Elvis one, I guess Neil is very proud about that he covered that one. Glory Road is on it too. Then we have another record after Brother Love Traveling Salvation Show, and it's called Touching Me, Touching You. It's a nice black and white album. It's not one of my favorites. It does some covers like Everybody's Talking, Mr. Vangelis, but I like his own songs better on it, like Holy Holy and Smoky Lady, and perhaps one of his most early songs called and the singer sings his song he wrote when he was just a teenager. So this album, this cover is also on its way to my home. I ordered it as a box with some of the albums of this time, of this period in it, but it has to arrive yet. I forgot to show you the CD. There's a CD of Brother Love Traveling Salvation Show, but it's called Sweet Caroline if you want to order it. And then we have the last one I showed you. The singer sings a song, Touching Me, Touching You called. Not so nice back. And then there is one of the most beautiful albums of Neil Diamond coming. It's called Taproot Manuscript, and it's one marvelous album with Crackling Rose and beautiful done. He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. I think it's the best version of that song. It's really heartfelt. And then the back side of the album, there is an African suite. It's a beautiful African music interpreted by Neil Diamond, and there is Missa on it with a choir, a cappella choir, and there's a child song on it, Song of the Lion. Beautiful album, sounds very well. I have another version also with it in other cover, not as shiny as the first one, but there is also the booklet in it. It came loose a little bit, but it's the same booklet with his initials here, and quite artistic photograph of him in the same bag. I'm not gonna run it like this. Beautiful album, preceded Paul Simon's African album called Graceland, many years. And then there is Stones. It's mostly a cover album. If there wasn't I Am a Sad, perhaps the song Neil's the proudest of all his songs. He had to labor on it several months, but when it's done, it's a beautiful song about his schizophrenia between the two shores. Am I a New Yorker or am I from the East Coast, West Coast of America? But there are beautiful covers, songs on it also, like Chelsea Morning from Joni Mitchell. We have If You Go Away from Jacques Brel. Jacques Brel is from my country, Belgium, and I'm very proud of that singer. If you ever saw Jacques Brel performing, you know what it means to be a performer. And I'm sure Neil Diamond is a fan of him too, because every time he came to Belgium, which is just 3 times, and he's coming back for the 4th time in September, and I always send a message to Tom in Diamondville saying welcome in the land of Jacques Brel, and last time he opened with I'm glad to be in the land of Jacques Brel, which is very nice because much of the Americans think Jacques Brel is French, which he isn't. Then there is a live album, the first live album at the Troubadour Club in America, and here it is, Gold. It's produced by Tom Catalano, and it contains most of his famous songs by then. It sounds a little bit raw. It's nothing compared to all the rest of his live albums. It's very primitive, very raw, but I like it. It's still with his first musicians who were with him at the time, like Carol Hunter, who is a solo artist herself, and the back one. There's also another version of Gold, and it contains also the song Lordy, which isn't on any of his other albums. I don't know of, I'm not aware of a studio version of Lordy. And here we have Neil at the Troubadour Club, I suppose, and it's another cover of Gold. I showed you this one already, but there is also a new one coming out that is called Moods, and here we have Moods, the last studio album of that period of Neil. Here is the proper one, Moods, and it contains maybe one of his big hits. It's a sing-along song sang blue. It's a little ditty, and everyone singing it at the concerts. High Rollin' Man, Captain Sunshine, Walk on Water, and Play With Me became all standards of Neil. And then there it is, the big album called Hot August Night. Hot August Night with a beautiful intro, the beautiful prologue, and it's followed by Grungy Granola Suite. I can show also the CDs of that period, the Taproot Manuscript, Stones, The Gold, Neil Diamond, Moods, and then there is this box which contained the 3 albums, Moods, Stones, and Touching Me, Touching You, Touching You, Touching Me. It's a quite nice tin box, and there is of course the CD, but there's something special about this one because it contains lots of bonus material which isn't on the vinyl albums. So this one is really sounding great and containing much more songs like Modern Day Version of Love, Think It's Gonna Rain Today, Walk on Water, Kentucky Woman, Stones. He introduces his friends on stage, and that one is really sounding marvelous. It's one of the highlights of Mr. Diamond. So if you ever plan to buy one album of Mr. Neil Diamond, perhaps this would be it if you want to have a live album, and his live performances are always marvelous. So this will be the part about Neil, and we go over to a next part of his albums, and that will be the compilation albums of this period. After this period, he joined another record company, had a huge deal, but he took a sabbatical for several times, and then he came out with an album Everybody Knows, but it will be in the next episodes. Hope you like them. See you next time.